Of talking about oh, my lineage has to continue. What is the lineage doing for you now that it's going to do for the person that you want to bring into the world?
What's good, you guys, and welcome back again on another episode. How are you guys doing today? I really hope you guys are doing great. And if you're joining for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't make it your last time. So smash the subscribe button and turn your bell notification on. I was scrolling through TikTok when I came across this interesting conversation. This is something that so many of us have had growing up. Where I come from, it is a very common statement they use, especially when they are talking to mothers that do not give birth to male kids. And I know a lot of people might have had that or as well witnessed when it is being used in that context. So in this conversation is all about, having kids just to pass on a legacy. Do you actually think having kids is you passing on a legacy? I always think legacy and lineage are being used very, very wrongly. I am going to post the clip that started this entire conversation so you guys can know the context at which this conversation started.
I mean, I just don't understand how you don't want your legacy to be carried on, bro. Like,
my legacy is me. My legacy is not my kids. My legacy is me. My legacy is my show. My legacy is Amani. My legacy is not my kids because average people will be like, oh, I want a legacy, but you're average. You live like a peasant. So what is your legacy? Let's say that you are above average. You're a millionaire. You're brilliant. You've made all these contributions to society. Your kid could come out to be a crackhead. Your kids could come out to be a school shooter. And that's the legacy? That's your legacy? I don't think that legacies, people even really know what they mean. Because your legacy starts with you. And if you don't have a legacy in your name, your kids ain't got shit to do with your legacy. People think that a legacy is just having kids. No, your legacy is what you set your kids up for. And a lot of people don't got two fucking pennies to rub together, but want to have kids and a legacy. What fucking legacy do you have? A legacy of debt? You are an everyday average citizen, sir.
So you consider, that's so fucking selfish, bro. Selfish.
Actually, it's selfish to have kids because you think that you're so great that you're going to pass on something great to your kids, to the world. You're not that great.
That is the video that sparked this conversation, and that last line, you guys, is actually very, very heavy. This guy was saying what she's saying is selfish. In my opinion, having kids just because you think you want to pass on a legacy is the selfish part. And I know this conversation has been a conversation going on TikTok, people who don't want kids, sharing the reason why they don't want kids, and the ones who have it coming for them, or some of them even telling them the reason why they should not have kids. Now this video sparked a conversation. Where I come from, like I said earlier, women are always being shamed, or men are even going to be told to take on another wife if their current wife is unable to give birth to a male child, which we all know that it's not even the woman's fault for not giving birth to a male child. But then again, this is just how this context is being used in the way that upsets me the most. Not only will they say you need to have kids to pass on a legacy, they will even narrow it down to having male kids, because that is the only way your legacy, like your surname, your this carries on. I'm like, what is the importance of that? You can easily change your surname, to be honest. Why is it that difficult? People are coming in on this particular conversation and it's getting very interesting. Let me hear your thoughts about it in the comment section before you even start checking out what people have to say about the video. So without wasting much time, let me roll in the stitches.
I just don't understand how you don't want your legacy to be carried on, bro.
I think this is one of my main frustrations with people who say they want kids. Because the vast majority of the time, people who say they want kids, it's all about creating some sort of legacy. It's wanting an image of themselves. It's wanting to find undying love. I think it's so disingenuous and it's irresponsible to put that kind of pressure on someone who did not ask to be here. And then there are people who will say, well, humans are naturally supposed to procreate. And yeah, that's true, like any other species on Earth. But what's supposed to set humans apart is our ability to practice critical thinking skills. Meaning if we don't have the means, we lack the mental, physical, and emotional ability to actually raise a child, for that child to grow up and be their own separate human being, maybe we should not be having kids. Because if the only reason why you want to procreate and to produce children is so that this child can grow up and continue your legacy, you're an idiot. Children may be an extension of you, but they are their own separate human beings. I don't understand why people don't recognize that once a child is here, they will have the ability to consume information and consume culture around them and become their own human being. And it may not be an extension of your quote unquote legacy, a legacy in which the vast majority of you don't have. Don't get me wrong, I don't want children, but I recognize that there are so many beautiful reasons to want to have children. And some people are amazing parents out there. Many of them are my friends. But if the only reason why you want to have a child is for selfish reasons, you should really reevaluate that, because that will determine how you will steer that child once they are here, especially when that child disappoints you or doesn't continue your legacy.
I just don't understand how you don't want your legacy to be carried.
I'm not the only one who is so tired of hearing this as a reason to have children. Every time someone to pass on your legacy, the whole time, the legacy that they're trying to pass on is the amount of messages that they have unreplied, camping up in women's DM. All you people looking to pass legacy on, if they ask you what exactly it is that you are recognized for, what is it? See someone who cannot fully take care of themselves talking about my lineage has to continue. What is the lineage doing for you now that is going to do for the person that you want to bring into the world? Of course, there's the possibility that I might be getting it all wrong. Maybe the legacy that they're trying to pass on is the amount of generational trauma that they do not want to break the cycle of. Get working on something that could be publicly recognized as an achievement. What have you done to help yourself grow? All time, the legacy that you guys want to pass on is poverty. If you don't get the
I just don't understand how you don't want your legacy to be carried on, bro. Like,
my legacy is me.
I think people get confused between the definition or the word legacy and lineage. If you want a lineage, you're gonna have kids, and your kid's gonna have a kid, and your kid's gonna have a kid, whatever. If you want to build a legacy, you gotta do it for yourself, and you gotta build a whole empire to the point where people 50, 60 years from now is going to be talking about you. That's what's called a legacy. People have to understand that you can have a lineage, but if your lineage don't have no legacy behind it, is pointless or useless, I could say. You want your lineage to have legacy in order to build generational wealth and build more on it.
I just don't understand how you don't want your legacy to be carried on.
Me and my father had this same discussion a few months ago. My father randomly called me one day and just was like, you need to get ready. He just had a dream and you're going to be a father. Talking about how I need to be on my A game now because I'm expecting a child pretty soon. He talking about it was a dream, but it sounded like a nightmare to me. And I told my father straight up, my 20s and child will not be going together. I'm living stress-free and child-free in my 20s. And not just with my father, but a lot of the older relatives wants us to have a child. And they all seem to have this carrying out the legacy type of talk. You need to carry out the last name. You need to carry out this last name. My last name ain't the Obamas, the Carters, the Smiths, hell, even the Kardashians. I can't do nothing with this last name. We got no resources, financial literacy, no real life skill, but to have a kid just to carry out a fucking last name.
I just don't understand how you don't want your legacy to be carried on, bro. Like,
my legacy is me.
This clip is so motherfucking funny because of how true it is. So, you know how a lot of certain words we as a society have become a lot more aware of? We're a lot more aware, like the everyday person is a lot more aware of human psychology, or at least basic human psychology. And so, we have what we call now buzzwords. But the truth is, buzzwords always fucking existed. It's not a new motherfucking thing. And you know what's one of the OG buzzwords? Legacy. A lot of people live their regular, average life. But when they come down to it, they're like, oh my God, I'm leaving a legacy for my kids. Babe, you're leaving struggle for your kids, okay? This idea of legacy, this idea of, genes, of just, biology, of that being a legacy. It's not a legacy, okay? It's just offspring, children, is simply something that happens as a product of human nature, okay? Just because you had offspring, just because you had a child, does not mean that you had a child of quality, does not mean that you are a quality parent, does not mean that that child will grow up to be a quality person. People really confuse having a kid with this automatic quality of their relationship, quality of their lives, quality of their future, quality and security of them being taken care of when they're older, when that's not the motherfucking case. Children are not as quality as you think they are. Now, I'm not saying that, you or whoever the fuck shouldn't have kids and da 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 da. You can have kids all you fucking want. You want to go and do that with your life, go ahead, baby. But the whole, continue your legacy. Can we stop with the OG buzzword there, right? Because everyone suddenly hates buzzwords when the buzzwords is us educating ourselves and speaking up for ourselves. But let's stop with the OG buzzword of legacy, because what legacy are you leaving? Really riddle me that there.
I don't think that legacies, people even really know what they mean. Because your legacy starts with you.
I tell you, she snapped, dog. She snapped, dog. Please watch the rest of that video, please. I get that your children are supposed to be your pride and joy and all that good stuff, yeah. Or give them something that they can take on within the future to help them and the kids after them, like education about money. That ain't no legacy, bro. That ain't no legacy. Just because your daddy played football at this school, then you played football at this school, don't mean your damn son need to play football at that school. I agree with her 100%. Your legacy is yourself. Number one is yourself, bro. Because if my father's legacy stopped at high school because he played football, he was the starting quarterback, and he had me right after graduation, and he's like, oh, you gotta do the same thing. That's not a legacy.
I don't understand how you don't want your legacy to be carried on, bro.
My legacy is me.
Where I learned that I can agree and disagree with my sister at the same time. Watch the rest of the whole video. Think about the Wayans brothers. Their parents, what did their parents do? We don't know. They was hunching though. And then every single time that they had a kid, they was making money. They was all funny. They was all moving, breaking shit. So, baby, a legacy is your babies, but it's about how much you promoting them, how much they promoting themselves, how self-motivated are they, how self-motivated are you, what you put in them, what do they use, who they hanging around, what resources are they using. That ties into your legacy. That. So, yes, you gotta have kids to have a legacy. I'm not gonna say it like that. I mean, if you great, be great. But a lot of us, need some generational help. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't understand how you don't want your legacy to be carried on, bro.
I have been saying this for years. Children are not legacies. A lot of men talk about how much they want to leave a legacy behind by having a child. And my response to that, you want to leave a legacy? Build a school. Contribute to a hospital, start a scholarship program, feed the homeless. Legacy cannot be carried out with a child. I think it's very weird how people project their legacy onto children who are going to go on and live their lives and do their own thing. Your children is not your legacy. Your legacy is what you do while you are here. Children are what you leave behind. At the end of the day, they're also going to disappear too. You want to build a legacy? Think about foundations that you can build. Think about schools that you can build. Think about causes that you can start. Think about causes that you can contribute to. Think about charities that you're really passionate about. Stop projecting all of your desires, wants, and needs to be carried out with this child. Your child is not your legacy. You do with this life while you're here, what you leave behind is
legacy to be carried on, bro.
My legacy is me. My legacy is not my kids.
Also, I'd like to add on, legacy is how you are remembered after you're gone. Do you really want to be remembered for just having kids? That's crazy, and it puts a weird pressure on people who aren't even born yet. Also, legacy is for legends. A lot of y'all are not going to be remembered after you're gone, so you don't have any horse in this race talking about a legacy. A lot of you will be forgotten soon after you're gone. I'm not even saying this to be mean. It's just matter of fact. A lot of you haven't done anything to even consider having a legacy. You will not be remembered after you're gone. So what the fuck do you care about a legacy for?
What do you guys think about people who think having kids is them passing on that legacy? I think this generation are not even buying into that phrase anymore, that you're having kids to pass on a legacy. The only person I was able to come across that is trying to agree with that, like having kids is your legacy, is still explaining it in a way that that is your lineage and not a legacy. Legacy is you, your brand, what you do, what you contributed. So saying I'm having a child because I want to pass on a legacy, a lot of legacy that has been passed. We all know it's trauma. Let me hear your thoughts about this conversation. I would really like to hear what you guys think about it in the comment section. Thank you all so much for being part of this video. And if you have not subscribed, please do so before you go. And turn your bell notification on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you guys.